Hey guys, CR Classics here. Welcome back to another video and welcome to 2022. Happy New Year, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who's watched my channel, liked my channel, supported, commented, got in touch, everything really last year, especially towards the end of last year when my video was released about the comparison between this car and my good friend Mark's car, which started off as an identical 1979 Esprit S2 in Championship Gold. With the champagne interior, and he's now turned it into a resto mod and a more usable car, which is what this video is about. This video is part 3 of that, and this video is going to be answering all of your questions as promised. As I believe there was over 200 comments on that video, all the questions directed towards Mark and me and your thoughts on both of our cars. So this video is going to be answering that. We go through every question no matter what's said, so you've got to tip your hat to Mark for doing that. A lot of people wouldn't post their car online, as resto mods are very Marmite cars, so fair play to him for saying okay, you can film it and you can post it online, and whatever comes of it comes of it. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, but the main thing I want to say is thanks for all the support last year, and 2022 is going to be bigger and better. The amount my channel's grown towards the end of 2021 has really made me think of how much I enjoy making the content and how much I enjoy what I do, and all the comments that come in I really love and appreciate it, and I love getting in contact with you guys. So 2022 I've got loads planned. I've got changing of cars, I've got road trips, I've got partnerships with brands, I've got reviews of cars, modern cars and classic cars. It's all planned for 2022 and it's all coming to this channel. So if you guys could be so kind as to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. But thank you for all the support in the last year, and let's go get 2022. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Let's crack on. Right, so we had lots of questions and comments about lots of different aspects of your car. One of the main ones was the wheels. I believe you've got some comments that you want to read out and reply to.
Yeah, so a lot of people had a view on the wheels, which I can understand. As I said in the video, these are not only bigger wheels radially, but they're wider wheels in order to create a bigger contact patch on the ground. For essentially better grip, and it means that of course you can choose your compounds. And I haven't asked you this already, but would I be right in thinking that the manufacturer tyres on the fronts are different to the rears on your car?
Yes, I think.
And I think that's because you can't actually get the same manufacturer compound for the size of the wheels on a Series 2, the 14-inch, because one manufacturer will only make ones that will fit the rears, and another manufacturer will make the ones that fit the but so that's kind of what you deal. I don't think people could fully understand. That's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with a 14-inch wheel, and the same is probably becoming true of a 15-inch. Your choices there are tires that go on Super Minis. Well, I don't really want to put Super Mini tires on my very expensive sports car. Yeah, exactly. So that's why That's why I went for a different wheel. That's why I didn't use the speed lines. I've no problem with the way the speed lines look. I like the simplicity of the Wolf Race wheels that were on the S1. I mean, originally the speed lines were designed by Lotus to be the wheel they always wanted. The Wolf Race were aftermarket to them. They just got those in. So I can certainly appreciate that there's more sort of history and there's more connection with the speed lines, but you can't aftermarket a speed line. They're too complex. You can't mill that out of a block of aluminium. So I went with the Wolf Race, and I made that choice. So people have asked that one comment has been that you should really only go 1-inch plus. Okay, but that really just takes me to 15-inch, and I've made the point there. And are you going to really want to spend the money to go 1-inch? Another comment about why not go for the BBS wheels on the turbos of the period. Well, because of course they were 5-stud wheels. These are 4-stud.
Yeah.
And yes, you could have gone for the very early Compomotives, which are 4-stud, but again, you're going to 15-inch. You're not really. Why go to that effort if you're really only then moving your tyre choice a little bit, and you don't get that width, which is what I wanted. And my rears, I think, are about the width of an S4 rear.
Right. Okay.
So Lotus went to that on the Esprit. There must have been and they went to 17s, of course, as well.
Yeah.
So there must have been a reason why the Esprit went on to 17s and 235s on the 235s, 255s, can't remember, on the rears. So why do so many resto mods have large wheels? Well, I think for a reason, and it's probably to do with the fact that why do cars have larger wheels? Why do we progress? Why do we move on? Why, and I think that's really the argument as to why I put 17s on. I've been asked, they're too big. You should have gone for 16s. And, in fairness, that's probably not a bad point.
Yeah.
But when I was stood in the garage with Nick at Tomorrow's Classics and we were looking at the car and it was sitting on 14s and we just replaced all the suspension and everything. So it was sitting, factory fresh. We had to make a decision and we chose 17s. We could have gone with 16s.
Yeah.
I think I future-proofed the car a little bit going for 17s because the newer Mira has 20-inch wheels.
Yeah.
Front and back.
Yeah.
So,
and again, that's for a good reason.
Yeah, and I think, in 20 years' time, getting good rubber for 15 and 16-inch wheels is going to get harder. Yeah. So it made sense to us. The rolling radius, by the way, and I've got a picture where I've got my car from previous and restored, shows really. I probably increased the rolling radius by about half an inch.
Right.
So even though we've gone up 3 inches on the wheel, obviously we've come down from 70s on the side profile at the rears to 45s. So, we haven't fundamentally changed really the way the car works, and we've compensated for any change with the way we've set up the chassis mechanically. Right. So, and I think it did get described as a pimp's Escalade, which I quite like because they've got 22, I think, on an Escalade. Yeah. I also got asked about the dust covers on the front and that they would reduce brake cooling. Yeah. I think that's true. Yeah. I did it. I'm not really driving the car to that extent where I'm worried about the front brakes overheating. I'm more worried about the brake dust getting into the very soft aluminium. Yeah. This is a problem that drives with Wolf Race wheels have as well. The original Wolf Race, you drive that car, you've got to clean those wheels straight away to get that brake dust out. I'm lucky that I've had mine ceramic coated, so I don't have that same. And those brake guards, the Gators, are just brilliant. They don't make them anymore, and they work really, really well. And I think, and they don't look like Wolf Race was a comment. And I've got another picture against a friend of mine's Series 1, which I think demonstrates that they're bigger, but they're very similar. They're not a million miles away. So I was a bit confused by that. But otherwise, I think, apart from people essentially expressing a view as to whether they like the look of the wheels or not, the size of the wheels on the car, that's probably covered most of it. But all I can say is there was an aesthetic reason for choosing them, but the main reason was an engineering solution. I was looking to make the car safer, more reliable to use, and my choice of modern sports car tyres is more important to me, I'm afraid, than how the car looks in profile.
Yeah. And if I was using the car as much as you, and if I was doing a similar thing to you, although I probably wouldn't go for the wheels that you went for, I would make my wheels bigger and make them more practical. I wouldn't use what I have on this, but I do, a fraction of the mileage that you do.
And I think, and if Colin Chapman was, building the Esprit today, he wouldn't be putting them on 14-inch wheels, no. In fairness. And like I say,
that's why it kept evolving until I ended up on bigger wheels.
Yeah, and you look at the final edition, I'm pretty certain they were on 18s. So that there was a reason for that. But of course, I understand the reason about stock, about originality. I get that. Absolutely get that. Yeah.
So we also had a few comments about the ride height and the handling of the car. Obviously, you changed the wheels, and your car does look slightly different to mine due to the black in the bottom quarter of the car. And I just want you to address really what you've done as far as ride and handling goes, and the suspension, and how much the wheels have affected that.
Yeah. Okay. So we've covered most of it, and I guess some of the comments have come in saying that surely the wheels would have compromised the handling. And as I say, the wheels were not placed on the car afterwards. The car, body off, chassis was stripped down to nothing, and all the bits were replaced. And when we did that, the suspension, the coilovers and everything were managed in such a way as to make sure that they worked with the wheels. The car, and I've got an image now of 4 Esprits, all S2s, and you can see, I think, from the 2 on the left hand side, which are like yours, where the sills are body coloured, they look lower. They're all on the standard 14-inch wheels, and then on the right hand side, with the sills painted, same suspension, same setup, same ride height, they simply, the optical illusion is they look higher. And I think when you add bigger wheels in, my car gives the impression, when it's standing still, of being higher off the ground really than it is. And it is pretty standard, as I've said before.
As well, I remember you saying that they introduced the black bottom quarter in the sills, didn't they, to make it look longer, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So when you put bigger wheels on that, it's always going to look different to mine, which is sort of S1.
In terms of its sort of side profile.
And like we mentioned before, with the suspension of mine probably sagging a bit.
Yes, it gives a little bit, looks a little bit lower.
To clarify.
Yeah, and people can make up their mind, of course. And we had a comment regarding mechanical grip, saying, well, great that you put these wheels on and everything, but do you need that extra mechanical grip? And my view is, I've driven Evoras with and I've lost the rear end on them, just because of the way that the power is delivered. I've owned a GT3 Esprit, and that was a heck of a car to handle. That was very twitchy, and in different conditions, you can be driving on a wet road, on a dry Sunday afternoon in the middle of summer. No, you probably don't need extra mechanical grip, but in changeable conditions, you do. It makes no sense not to add additional grip if you can.
And like we've said before, my car, I don't use it all year round. In the winter, it very rarely comes out. Your car, you do use it, 12 months of the year. So, you've got to prepare for that, haven't you, really?
Well, I think so, yeah.
Everyone's got to take into account that you want to use it in almost any weather.
I don't want to put it in a hedge, because I'm driving on essentially sort of skinny wheels that haven't got the rubber to rubber in the road in the way that modern compounds can. So again, that's because of how I choose to drive the car.
And your previous experiences with other Esprits and other Lotus cars.
Exactly. I'm an older guy, and I've had many experiences that have taught me that I'd rather make sure that I have an abundance of grip rather than a lack of it. One thing was another thing that was mentioned was that the ride quality will be punishing, and the ride and handling have been fundamentally compromised. And all I can really say is that I do not believe that they have. Now, I never drove my the Series 2 Esprit before it was modified, because when I bought it, it was undrivable because it was being lightly restored at Tomorrow's Classics. So I cannot honestly compare, and it's one of the things I'd like to do with your car at some point. So, and that'd be nice. We can drive each other's cars and we can see. And whilst I'm pretty sure that my the ride quality is, or the handling is handling, I think, will be improved. The ride quality will probably be a little bit harder, I think, in mine, because I think we'll set it up to be with perhaps with slightly shorter, slightly stiffer springs. So it'll probably be different, but I don't think the handling has been fundamentally altered. But I struggle to say that it has, because I can't compare.
Well, that's the thing. That'll be a really good video for you to go in mine, hop straight out and go with yours. that'll be a really interesting for both of us, I think, and for you guys to see as well, just what you feel.
Yeah.
I've got a few issues with mine at the moment, but once those are resolved and once yours is out of having the work done, next year we'll definitely do that for sure.
And that'd be great, and that'd be a great thing to do. And Nick at Tomorrow's Classics, he drives a lot of the sprees of this era. He's very much a Giugiaro guru. Has said to me that my car is so much more user friendly to use than an original car. He has, he's owned a number himself. He has many in the shop, and it's been, that's the point of modernising it, was to make it so that
goal, wasn't it, really?
And modern cars tend to drive it perhaps a little bit a slightly firmer ride, but to say that simply putting a wheel that's got about half an inch of radial increase has fundamentally altered the ride and handling. I'm reasonably comfortable. Hasn't been done. It did get described as a monster truck version, and I think again that's that larger wheel, the blackest the sill, so it looks so it looks a little bit higher.
So guys, I know I said we'd be covering all of your questions in this video, but there's simply too much footage and I don't want to cut anybody's question out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this video, which is going to cover everything you've watched already, and the next video will be released a couple of days after this one on my YouTube channel, which will cover the rear of the car, the engine bay, the lights, the interior, the binnacle, all things like that, and a roundup of the car, just to make sure we're thorough and cover everyone's questions. Don't leave anyone out, and the videos aren't 25 or 30 minutes long, so it's not too much for you guys to watch at once. Hopefully that's the best way to do it, and you guys agree with me. Hope you enjoy the video. Thank you everyone. Please like, subscribe, and follow me, and I'll put a link to Mark's website and Tomorrow's Classics as well, who did all the work on Mark's car, all the amazing work on that. That will all be in the description. But apart from that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.
See you on Classics. Out.